Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is the Buffalo Chicken Calzone. Well, many of you are aware of my love for buffalo chicken and my tendency to try to work it into as many different dishes as I can, and today that dish is the calzone. Now, calzones invented back in Italy 300 years ago probably, a savory baked turnover, fully enclosed in dough, any number of savory fillings inside. Today we're gonna drop those traditional fillings though in favor of our tangy, creamy, cheesy buffalo chicken filling. We're gonna bake it up in the Yoder in the wood-fired oven, and we're gonna serve it with some scratch-made blue cheese dressing. Let's get into it. We're gonna get started by making this blue cheese dressing, and that starts with 1 cup of sour cream. We're gonna add to that a 1/3 cup of Duke's mayo. Then I've got 4 ounces total of our blue cheese crumbles. I'm gonna save half to mix in later because I want some texture in here, and half of it we're gonna blend straight into the sauce so you get that blue cheese flavor throughout. A couple teaspoons of buttermilk, a little bit of white wine vinegar. We're gonna do a teaspoon of our Cattleman's Lone Star. This is just salt, pepper, garlic, celery seed, and then a clove of garlic. We're just gonna blend this until it's smooth. We're gonna pour this into our bowl here so we can incorporate the blue cheese crumbles. I will say that I like this dressing to be a little bit thin for this, for dipping. So if you don't want it quite so thin, just go easy on the buttermilk and that'll help out. Break up those crumbles just a little bit. And then we'll just set this in a jar and throw it in the fridge until we're ready to eat it. This will stay good in the fridge for a week or week and a half or so. So next thing we're gonna do is get our chicken seasoned up and ready to go on the grill. We've got 4 boneless, skinless chicken thighs here. And we're very simply gonna season these with that same rub, the Lone Star brisket rub. Keep the seasonings really simple to let this buffalo sauce flavor shine. So now we're ready to grill off our chicken and make our buffalo sauce at the same time. We're gonna be doing so on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill. Currently it's running at 500 degrees and we've got the wood-fired oven installed. So we've got our Lodge bakeware cast iron in here that's been preheating. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of duck fat so our chicken doesn't stick. And then we're gonna cook this off inside the wood-fired oven. Got a nice sizzle to it already, that's a good sign. So while the chicken cooks inside the oven, we're gonna cook our sauce on top of the oven. Put our steel skillet down, we're gonna start melting some butter. And then our hot sauce for today. We're actually using the Anti-Gravity by Heat Mavericks. Now, traditionally, for a traditional buffalo sauce, I'd use something a little bit more mild and kind of middle of the road, kind of like the Frank's or something really accessible like the Cattleman's Pit Fire. But we're gonna add a little extra flavor into our buffalo sauce today with the Anti-Gravity, and it's also got a little extra kick to it. So it's fun to play around with the different hot sauces to see what kind of buffalo style sauce you can make with different flavors. Now for seasonings, I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of that Lone Star brisket rub, and then a teaspoon of cayenne for a little bit more heat, and then about a half teaspoon of our Worcestershire sauce. Go ahead and close this up and let that start melting down. As everything starts to melt down, the butter starts to melt down, of course the liquid and the fat are going to want to separate, so we're just going to whisk that to emulsify. And any time in this process that it separates, a little bit of whisking is all it's going to take to bring it back together. Let's check the color on our chicken. Oh yeah, nice browning. That's what we're looking for. We're going to take these to an internal temperature of 175 degrees. All right, so we just popped past 175. Didn't even take 10 minutes on these chicken thighs. So we're gonna remove these now. Let them cool just a little bit and then we're gonna shred them up. Buffalo sauce is simmering away gently. Give it a whisk and let it keep doing that. Let those flavors meld. So now that the chicken's come off, I've thrown some cottons and nitriles on to keep the heat out of my hands, and I'm just gonna shred these by hand. I want to create a lot of surface area, a lot of nooks and crannies for the sauces to grab onto and for the chicken to really be able to just soak up that buffalo sauce. So we got our buffalo sauce out. We're gonna pour it over the chicken. We use every last bit of that. And it's gonna soak a lot of that up. See, there's really nothing left standing in the bottom there. That shredded chicken really just wants to soak up the liquid. Now from here, we're gonna add a couple more ingredients, starting with 2 ounces or about a 1/4 cup of cream cheese. Let's mix that in to melt it. So now we're getting creamy with our tangy and our spicy. And then finally, we're gonna have some nice stringy cheese, and that would be in the form of mozzarella. We're gonna do 12 ounces of mozzarella. And just mix that by hand until it's all evenly distributed. And this right here is our filling for our calzone. Well, now we're ready to roll out our dough and put this calzone together. We're gonna get a little bit of flour on our work surface and then our pizza dough down. So this dough is our normal pizza dough recipe. We've got an entire video on just how to make this dough. You guys can go check that out. We'll put a link in the video description if you want to make this from scratch. If not, you're looking to pick up a bit of raw dough that's going to weigh just a little less than a pound, because we're making some monster calzones today. We're not doing little individual servings. We're going to do some nice big ones. I'm going to use the rolling pin to get a nice even thickness and a nice even roundness so that it folds on top of one another from one side to the other evenly. I'm not going to go super thin with this, so I want it to have some breadiness all the way around. I'm gonna thin out these edges right here a little bit, just because we're gonna crimp this over on the other side and it gets pretty thick. Same thing right here. Now we're ready to take half of that filling we made, bring that down on 1/2. We're gonna create a little border around this edge here, which is where we're gonna seal everything. And then to help glue this together, we're gonna brush a little water on the edge here. And we fold over. Right over the top evenly, right to the edges. Press that down. Kind of press the filling to mound it. And now we've got this border here that we can crimp. And I'm going to brush that one more time since we're folding it over on itself. It'll help stick. And then we're just going to fold over, fold over, fold over, and work our way all the way down. All the way till we get to the end. Come back. That looks beautiful. All right, let's transfer this to our pizza peel so that we can launch it into the oven. A little flour on the peel. I'm just gonna gently pick it up and move it. And then before we get this into the oven, I'm gonna do a couple scores on it, and we're gonna get some olive oil and some seasoning on top. I said scores, but honestly what we're doing is we're cutting little vents. It should go all the way through. That way as this seasoning heats up, the air and the moisture and the gas that's created has somewhere to escape. And then for a little extra brown and a little extra shine, just gonna brush some extra virgin olive oil on top. Being careful not to kind of pool it around on the peel, because that's going to prevent you from being able to launch it off the peel and into the oven. That looks nice. Finishing touches now, a little bit more Lone Star. Salt and pepper on top. And we're ready to go into the oven. So we're going to launch this into the back half of the pizza oven. I know we can pick up some good radiant heat. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes to spin it. All right, guys, 5 minutes in here. We're going to give our calzone a spin, back in, and 5 more, and then we'll check it one more time. All right, guys, here's about 10 minutes in now. We're getting a beautiful golden brown color. I feel like 1 more minute, we get just a little bit more of that browning around the edges. Yeah, that's looking really pretty now. Let's go ahead and take it out. Now the tough part here has been waiting for about 15 to 20 minutes before cutting into this. And it's still gonna be plenty hot, but in that time, everything's had a chance to kind of solidify, so it's not just gonna run out. Now you can hear we've got a great crust on the outside, but it's also got some tenderness to it. These are all the things that we're looking for in the finished product. Oh yeah. Really nice evenness all the way around. Again, we got a good crisp on the bottom, but still very tender. We'll plate that up with some of our blue cheese. All right, so let's load it up with some dressing and get a bite. Blue cheese right off the bat, baby. I love some blue cheese. And if you're not a fan, you can do ranch. It'll be just as good with this. Of course, we catch that cheesiness. You see the stretch from the mozzarella. I'm already getting heat on the tongue. Chicken's super tender. Totally coated in that buffalo sauce. And there's a bit of creaminess from that cream cheese that we added that maybe cools things down a little bit too. But check out this dough. I mean, bready, soft, tender. With the olive oil on the outside, it's almost like it's a little bit fried. Just juicy as can be. All the goodness of buffalo chicken wrapped up in this pizza dough in a calzone form. It's a party in your hand right there. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.